And this truck is getting closer to being done. We are very, very close to taking this thing out on the dunes and doing its first shakedown run. But we need a few more things, like a windshield. That's kind of priority number one. Things in this video, figured I'd kind of get the last shot. It is scheduled for, I got a mobile installer coming here to the shop today to put a windshield in this thing. So I still am, that's what I'm getting started on right now, is going to start working on this dash more. Should be able to, I'm going to try to see if I can get this finished off before the guy gets here, but if not, it'll just give me a little less room to come in here. Right now I can work through the windshield. But yeah, I'm going to work on that, getting a panel on the front of this piece to come up and meet up into here where the factory one did. Got some trimming to do over there. But, well, and then I got to take this. This isn't even bolted on, it's just sitting here, but we can get the glass back in, and then I can actually come in here and finish bolting this stuff on. I can get the hood put on. I was waiting to get the hood on until the windshield's in. And yeah, it will be a lot more drivable down the road. I have done just a little rip around the block here, just checking the thing out. Been driving it up and down the driveway, things like that. And yeah, you get quite a bit of wind in your face and in your eyes with no windshield. So shooting for in the next couple days to be able to take this thing out on the sand and give a shakedown. As I went and drove around, I'll probably do a full nut and bolt check on everything. All this stuff got tightened, but now as you're anytime you're building something from the ground up, you know, this truck was here for 2 years on jack stands, and now it fires up and it runs and drives. So it's always a weird feeling, you know, just being a builder, watching something you've been building and creating actually start moving. And then if you're like me, you got to stop, and every time you drive it, I grab wrenches and I'm redouble checking everything, making sure there's nothing I missed, making sure nothing has come loose. Because that happens in this stuff. To think that you're going to bolt these together and then never find like anything loosening up in an off-road truck is not possible. So I don't know why I was walking over here. I'm getting going on a little monologue. I just finished taking up these little dash panels, ended up riveting them right to the factory dash. The factory dash is just some plastic that I ended up cutting off back in here. It was starting to break and, you know, very brittle from, it's like 22 years old. But now, got some panels in here. They go all the way up to where they're supposed to, so they're being held in right there. Just some aluminum, pretty light. Got them all riveted together. I do need to finish over there, but the windshield installer just texted me, said he's almost here, so gonna pick up the shop a little bit and get ready for him to install the windshield. The last little bit I need to do is actually put some rivets in along there, but I got to do a little bit more. I got to make a little lip that goes in there, so I'll just do that when the windshield's on. So about perfect timing. We'll get a little look at it, and yeah, next look, we'll have the windshield in this thing. And just like that, we have glass in it. Didn't get any filming of the windshield or installer doing that. We ended up pulling it outside and just let him do his thing out there. Opened the doors up, and then yeah, cleaned up the window, the ceiling area, and glued in a new windshield. So new windshield's in and all good to go. I can, next thing I'm going to be doing is working on the valance area up here, get the valance back on and the wipers back on. Might even look at putting the hood back on. I got a few more wires in here to loom up and clean up. So that's kind of what I'm going to do next. I'll get the GoPro out and do that. But for the most part, I think that is really getting down to the last little bits. Getting this stuff on. We'll take a look on the inside. I do got to get the glove box. I got to make a cut and get that trimmed in to fit yet. But for the most part, interior is all done. And once I do all that stuff, we'll kind of jump to what's going to be the last bit of actual like fabrication and work is going to be closing up some holes. So making some panels and welding those in. The big ones are these ones and in the floor, obviously. So those will be kind of the last tedious things to do. Get those closed up, but really not that hard. Just making some square panels, and I'll probably be silicon bronze welding all those in, so it's a more flexible material to bond those, so can allow for more vibration, that type of stuff, and not get crack in the weld between the body panels. So yeah, kind of getting down there. I have a list. I'm gonna have to update my list and check it out. I'll have to find it, because I do not think we have that many more things on the list of this thing. We are checking stuff off, so let's grab the GoPro and set it up, and I guess get all this stuff done. Well, again, got busy working on it. Didn't have the GoPro and filming, but you can see I got the hood on. Got some more of the trim stuff on, wipers, you know, all that type of stuff. And even took care of this guy. So that's all operational, working again. Everything clears. Cleaned up some wiring, put some loom on some stuff. For now, the time being, we're just going to run the OEM, what is that? The ECM and the fuse panel in the OEM locations. And then the plan long term is to switch this over to a standalone harness and then be able to do a fuse panel and the ECM on the inside of the cab. But for right now, I got to do a little bit more loom up here for the fan wiring. But other than that, for the most part, I did end up taking this thing out yesterday. Took a buddy with me and we had some pictures. I don't know if I'll have them in time to put in this video or not, but went out, drove probably like 15, 20 miles on some paved and some like dirt seasonal roads with this thing. And yeah, performed no problems. Had no issues with anything. The fans worked the whole time. The temp never stayed like right at 190 the whole time, was running. Yeah. So, I guess I don't know what else. Pretty much, it's about done now. I'm working on a couple last little minute things. And right now, actually, the owner, Doug, is coming over. And we're going to take this thing out to the dunes today. That is the plan. But probably going to end up maybe doing like an oil change first. And a couple things like that. I was working on doing some grinding in here, getting a little more clearance. I still have to do the panel work on this thing. There is still the holes in the floor, but for right now, we'll just we'll drive with the holes in it. Not that big of a deal. We'll work on closing those up after we do a little bit of a shakedown run. Mainly want to kind of just test out shocks, test out springs, see where we're at. See, to me, driving it the other day, it felt a little stiff, but you know, that's on the road and on like like washed out like dirt roads. So it drove really good. It felt really solid. The steering was really great. And actually, that was, I guess, one thing to talk on. The steering is, it did everything that I wanted this kit to do. It drives, I would say, better than a stock truck. Taking off from like a 90-degree corner. This thing is running a stock LS or a 5.3, a Vortec, whatever, steering pump. And then it has a gearbox out of a 72 Chevy. That's the gearbox that's in there. And it's on 37s with the tires aired down, and the thing turns awesome. If you're sitting completely still and idle and you try turning them on pavement, it will do it. It does have a little bit of a groan, but I don't really try to do that that's just putting a ton of stress on the box. But as far as just driving, that's things that my personal C10 with the old beam setup that I had never drove as good as this thing did yesterday. So the 15-20 miles I did, you could drive it all through town at stop signs, stoplights, and that was awesome. So super pumped about that. The Ackerman's really awesome. When you turn the wheel and like the return back to center is all really nice. So yeah, Doug's gonna come over today. We're gonna do some driving, and I didn't get any filming of that yesterday when I was driving it. I was, pretty hyper focused on checking systems and keeping an eye on cooling temps and yada yada, stuff like that. But today I'll be riding passenger, so I'll have more time to grab my camera and get some clips of this thing going to the dunes for the very first time. So that's the goal behind today. Got a, if you can't tell, really nice, beautiful, sunny October day to go ahead to the dunes. That's the very first dune rip in the driving Chevy. There it goes. Dave is, we're out in the dunes the very first time, driving the truck. He's got his wife with him, she just hopped in. And I'm just gonna kind of mainly film him for a little while. So we're gonna get some clips of the IBM Chevy ripping around, start doing some shock tuning and different stuff like that, and see what we got. Here comes Doug again. I just tried doing a couple shock adjustments. The front is working flawlessly. The rear leaf springs are holding up a little bit, but we kind of knew that was going to be the issue with the leaf springs on this truck. So here we go. Dude, if you doubled down to that, I'm not saying I wouldn't go for it this weekend, but that'd be a sick jump. That's a big jump. Oh yeah. Dude, even that. There's not a landing, but that lift for a jump would be sick. Holy moly, it actually runs and drives. We're back in the garage now, but we finally got to drive this thing and pull it out of the garage and go to the sand dunes in this freaking truck. And yeah, that was really rad. Again, the filming's a little broken up. I did my best to kind of get some shots, but got some stuff in there. And for now, got it back in here. And actually, I'm going to be doing a little bit more stuff. We got to learn a few things, and one of the things I've actually just noticing right here, it's sitting a little bit lower, so I'm actually going to put a little bit more preload. These springs are brand new springs, so they're going to wear in a little bit. So I'm going to put a little more preload in there and adjust the ride height back up and kind of go through, do a whole bolt check on the thing now. Yeah, just really do a once-over on the whole thing. We've gotten to put some miles on it now, between Dune miles, driving it on the pavement, all sorts of that type of stuff. And actually, so tomorrow is a weekend. Doug's going to be coming back up and taking this thing out again tomorrow for the day. So that's kind of where we're really at. This thing's ready to be driven and put some more miles on the thing and just be doing some testing and tuning. We did learn, we knew leaf springs are only capable of so much, and at this point there is still a lot of stuff that we plan to do with the leaf spring setup in this thing to get more out of it. You can see in a lot of those videos going through some of the whoops, the rear kind of has like a little bit of a bucking issue, which some of that I can get out with the valving. I'm gonna have to make a valving change, and that's all stuff that we'll dive more into that in the future. But for right now, we were really focused on just obviously getting it out and driving it and seeing where we're at with the front. And the front is performing, honestly, to the point we weren't even using all of it. You can see right here, there's the bump stop. I put those O-rings, I moved them all the way up to see how much it's going down. And we still have like 2 inches of bump travel that isn't even going up. To the point, the whole time we were in the dunes today, we weren't going like crazy and jumping it or anything like that. But also, the dunes were relatively smooth. It's October. It rained the night before. But we didn't even bottom the truck out up front in all of the driving that we did today. So there's still a lot of that type of stuff to go as far as just seeing what the front end is capable of. But really, it's kind of to the point, it's only so capable as like your weakest link. And right now, the rear at this point with the leaf springs is what's actually going to hold this truck up to a certain level. But as we drive this thing more and more out on the sand and figure out what this thing is good, and it's probably not going to be like the biggest whoop monster with that rear setup right now, but it still can carve and do a bunch of other lines out there. It's still carrying a lot of speed. And then a big difference of, I don't have any footage, but of this truck when it was an AR truck before versus being a beam truck now is like the chatter. And with Silver Lake, we have so much traffic. The ruts and the chatter that we get can be pretty brutal. And this thing is complete night and day difference now, riding through the chatter and all that type of stuff. So traffic in this thing, all of that type of stuff, it makes it so much more enjoyable. And the other big thing that I talked about before is still, I'm like blown away really at just how good it works. The steering, the Ackerman, this thing not having ram assist, and I don't believe it needs a ram assist. The ram assist is a whole nother system putting on the steering. But this thing it literally works so good that there's no need for it. So that's all stuff that I'm super pumped on. So it's pretty crazy to actually like finally have made this video, finally make a video of this thing going to the dunes. Very first one of hopefully many more to come. Doug's planning on, we only have, I don't know, it's only like a week left that the dunes are open. So we're planning on getting out there as much as we can, and I'll get some filming along the way and do some other stuff. We talked about maybe getting out there, getting some GoPros, trying to hang some GoPros on the front, seeing if I can get some suspension shots and stuff like that. So we'll get some more footage on this thing. And again, if you've been watching the Dune Hippie channel, I appreciate you. Thanks. Peace. We'll catch you on the sand.